Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian, and this is another episode of Maintaining Frame because that seemed like the best bit.
It seemed like the right thing at the time.
Yeah, and we're also, still working on our fundraiser, so we're making this sort of like folding it into it. Allison, do you want to talk about the fundraiser?
Yeah, yeah. So our fundraiser is live. It is at feedthebadger.com/support. So please do consider taking the time to go there and put a few shekels in the hat. Every bit counts. $5, $10, whatever you can help with is great. I know that you all help as much as you can, so it's all very much appreciated. And so once again, that's feedthebadger.com/support. I will do some arm twisting at the hour, so stay tuned for that. You all seem to enjoy that. And today it's a little cold here where I am, so I have decided to pursue the kumph.
Yeah,
I think that is referred to it.
the
I'm
cozy.
decided to be the koozie, the comfy. I'm decided to go comfy. I think is
Mm-hmm.
what it is. A comfer. I'm a comfer.
And being that I'm in like Southern Virginia, it's not that cold yet. But
Mm,
we do have some chilly nights. But what I am doing, I am a bit festive. So I don't know if you
festive.
guys can
Ooh,
see back there, but I have
yeah.
some
That's
candles and a skull and
that,
a pumpkin. It was
yeah,
supposed to be, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
that's very festive. That's
Yeah.
spooky, spoopy, spoopy.
That's yeah. I'm going for this.
I don't
I'm
have
going for spoopy.
I don't have anything spoopy. I might next time, but behind me, as you can see, I do have the gondolas that
Mm,
that some people like. Well, on the Discord, they wanted me to have gondolas, and I said that I would put them in the background, and there they are. It's right there, the
mm.
little brown guy. I guess he's a
Oh,
little
I
bit cut
kind of
off.
see it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
maybe I
kind of
should
see
get
it.
the big 6 foot one and put it behind me. That's a little bit scary. A 6 foot
Yeah.
gondola behind me.
I
But
also I also have skeletons on my window, so I want to show those really quick. If I can,
ooh.
if I'm able, can I do that? I don't think my camera's gonna let me.
Well, we'll just have to imagine that you're
Yeah,
skeletons,
they're happy dancing skeletons on my window.
spooky skeletons.
Yeah, they're spooky skeletons, and I don't know if the kids can see it, but I'm hoping because that's like we live in this apartment building, so we can't like go too crazy on decorations. So mostly, it's like
Mm.
we have lights on our little balcony area, which you can't really see from here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so but there are, I promise you, there are skeletons, and
Mm.
they're spooky, and they're dancing, and they're smiling on my window for the kids because I
Uh-huh.
think that that's
Yeah.
like really important. So
Uh
I
yeah,
think,
Jonathan, this is the first year in like 3 years that he's put out his big blow up
oh, good,
Halloween decorations. Like,
yeah,
well, he originally had his big like 12-foot ghost, but it kept folding over. So he
oh
took it
wow,
down.
yeah,
And now he just has his big black cat that moves its head. And Skippy always barks at it as he goes past.
mm,
He's
yeah.
like, "What is this thing?" I have a suspicion. It's sus. But yeah, but he wanted to do that because it's been like what 3 years of
Yeah, that's
relative
exactly right.
misery.
I think that I've noticed that everyone's really getting into the spirit of Halloween in my
Ooh.
area too. So I'm pretty excited because I was when I first came here, we were at peak um let's say caution
Mm-hmm.
and peak grandma saving, and
Mm-hmm.
there was like no one doing anything for Halloween, and
Mm-hmm.
I was worried about that. I even bought like a big thing of candy, and then I had to eat it because nobody came and got
Nobody
it, and
came.
it was a sacrifice, but I was willing to make. And then but over the last couple of years, it seems like people are more involved in Halloween, and I hope
Mm-hmm.
it'll be the same for Christmas and stuff too. So we'll see. Because,
Yeah, we'll see.
like I said, I think that it's for the kids. I want to see the kids enjoying their holidays and that community that comes from that. So, anyway, let's get
Yeah, yeah.
into the story that we're looking at today. So, here is do you need the link or
Uh, I could probably I'll get it from our chat. Don't worry about it.
okay, all right.
Yes. I
So, yeah, here's the link. It's from a website called iqfy.com. I never heard of it. I didn't bother looking up to find out what if IQFY stands for anything, probably, but I don't know. And the title is Body Positivity is for Women, not lazy white guys with dad bods. There is more to dad bod positivity than meets the eye. It's appropriation of body positivity culture created by and for women by the usual suspects.
Body
Written,
positivity culture.
yeah, body positivity culture. Yes.
So men can't feel positive about their bodies or try to feel good about who they are because only women are allowed to feel positive about themselves or feel good about who they are. And they have a complete monopoly on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is what's freaking amazing. I don't know exactly what they did. Did they build like cities of body positivity? Did they create theme parks around body positivity, like gigantic empires, business empires? Did they create innovations around body positivity? Did they construct institutions that they're now restricting men from? No, it's just an attitude for the most part and a bunch of blogs. Like, is there anything? Like, is there some kind of body positivity infrastructure that they're laying claim to? Like,
No. No.
so you're just basically
Well,
laying claim to an attitude about yourself. No.
yeah, I think the body positivity thing is basically just essentially uh giving women permission to live an unhealthy lifestyle at the end of it. Because it's not about what's right. It's not about what you can do to improve your health. It's about um people shouldn't judge you because it makes you feel bad.
And if a group of people constructs something, I mean, does this argument work anywhere else? If like say a group of people goes and constructs modern finance, modern governance, construct cities, make sure the infrastructure is running. Can they go around and turn around and say, no, you can't have access to this because you're not part of the group that constructed it? Because I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that this particular line of logic is going to play out well for women on the whole. If you think about it, that if a group of people goes and constructs something, the people they didn't get involved in the construction don't actually have any claim on it.
Yeah.
I mean, well, we could embrace this line of reasoning, but might not work for women on the whole.
No. No. um
Oh man. Okay.
all right. So body positivity is for women, not lazy white guys with dad bods. There is more. Oh, I think I already read that.
Yeah, I already. It all
Okay.
blurs, doesn't it?
Yeah, it all starts looking the same.
Yeah.
Written by Jamey Braunstein, which, by the way, I went to click on this name and it goes to a band Twitter page, so I don't know who this person is. I don't know if they actually exist,
Managed to get
but
banned on Twitter.
yeah, they managed to get banned on Twitter. I don't know.
That is impressive for this side of the ideological divide. I
Yeah.
mean, is it a man or a woman? I don't know, but they must have either been constantly misgendering people or maybe they were
Hmm.
making open threats, and I mean real threats of violence, like I'm going to load my gun. This is just an example. It's not
Yeah.
intended
It's
to
not.
I'm
Okay.
I'm gonna I'm gonna go get a gun and kill you now. That's an example of an actual death threat. Like, was this person giving actual death threats? What, getting banned on Twitter unless you are a men's rights activist who uses the word retard. It's quite difficult, on
Yeah.
the whole.
Yeah.
But there you go. I mean, it's quite difficult for the people on that ideological side, which doesn't make much sense, but to
Well, she could have retweeted Kanye at some point and like
Mm,
got caught in the
the
area of
crossfire.
effect. The crossfire, the low yield nuclear warhead that was his banning, and anyone that was like standing too close. Who knows?
Mm.
All right. So, in a world that is constantly telling us to be thinner, it can be hard to love our bodies just the way they are. But
Yeah,
what if
that's not the world. That's your arterial plaque talking, lady.
your arterial plaque? Yeah. Um,
Ugh.
but what if we stopped seeing our so-called flaws as imperfections and started viewing them as unique features that make us who we are?
Yes, my 20-pound flat fatty liver is not a flaw or imperfection. It's
It's
it's something that
it's
truly expresses my soul.
yeah, it's character.
It's
It's
character.
it's a bit of I have a whole lot of character right here in the middle of my stomach, and
Hmm.
it just makes me more of a unique, lively, and sleepy human being. So,
Sleepy and
um,
cranky. Because let's face
yeah,
it, all that extra fat is making a lot of estrogen,
that's
and
true.
estrogen makes you cranky. But like let's not even. I guess we're not even supposed to go there because,
No.
and ultimately, it's not any of my business if somebody wants to kill themselves with their addictions. But until I don't know, uh, meth addicts start displaying start saying no, these open sores on my body, they aren't, you can't judge me for that, this is my beauty coming forth, like, and maybe I'm being cruel by saying like fat is the equivalent, but in some ways it is a marker of you abusing yourself,
Mm-hmm.
period, and you not caring, and I'm not talking about somebody who's heavier, all right, like, because there's certain indications that up to a certain weight that isn't an issue, or maybe if you are overweight, if you lose 10 to 20 pounds, you gain significantly in terms of your health. And I'm not talking about people who are actually struggling with this stuff, but I mean, there's one thing with body positivity and there's one thing with arguing with nature. You are hurting yourself by doing this, and it shouldn't be encouraged. Like, maybe it shouldn't be shamed either, because I don't know if shaming really does anything to help. But I mean, honestly, you shouldn't take pride in the physical manifestation of how you're abusing yourself.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Well, it depends on, I guess, like what we mean by shame. Because today,
Mm-hmm.
simply pointing it out, and saying like, look, I'm worried about you, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that could still be read as a kind of shame, like a concern troll. But I
Mm-hmm.
take what you mean, and yeah, I mean, in general, people bring this stuff up because they don't want people to get sick or get other diseases like cancer, or diabetes or whatever, and they want them to live a full life. So if a person, like the person who writes this article, if they're experiencing any kind of intervention, most likely it's from someone who cares, not from someone who simply takes pleasure in calling them fat, for example. People generally don't do that, at least not in person, maybe online, depending on like how you're presenting yourself. But there's plenty of ways to avoid that too. So, um, all right. But
I'm just
anyway, hmm?
Yeah, let's keep going. And the thing is, the other thing I want to point out is I'm looking at, oh, I got my back thing captured by New York Times, but I'm looking at this, and I'm also looked at the first link in the first paragraph. These guys are, the bodies of these men are not like Chris Helmsworth perfect. if you consider that perfect, but they look healthy. Like they don't look enormously fat. They look like they work out. It's just that they don't have a six pack.
So you're saying
And
dad bods are the biggest turn on for singles in the pandemic sex
yeah,
era?
yeah, we can take a look at that when we get to it. So we're not actually, when they're talking about dag, when this individual, man or woman, this Twitter non person is talking about dad bods, they're not talking about somebody who could,
Like a man
you
with a
know,
beer gut. That's
yeah.
like,
So you
yeah.
walking down the beach and all the lady walruses are eyeing him and saying, "Whoa." No, that's not what we're talking about. These are
Yeah.
guys who actually look like they still work out. They don't eat everything that is available to them. They are not actually unattractive, let's put it that way.
Right.
um and they don't look like they're going to die of they're going to keel over immediately.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now we're comparing this guy, like the Ken doll here, who just looks like, actually just looks like an average guy, right,
Hmm.
to presumably 300, 400 pound the
Women,
body
Lizzo
yeah, women.
types. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was
sure.
thinking Lizzo, but I didn't want
Say it.
to. Yeah, and it's like again, I don't think it's necessary to shame people for when they're dealing with stuff, but at the same time, as this is not like 300, 400 pounds, this isn't something you should be celebrating.
Yeah.
Something that
Well,
you should be working on to figure out why you're abusing yourself.
yeah, and I'm not invoking Lizzo because I want to make fun of her. I think uh, I'm
How to
just she's basically like the current trend, and I think that's
Mhm.
the reason why she's popular. So we're being told by the entertainment industry that women who look like Lizzo are like, perfectly fine, they're healthy, they're whatever. And I think that's the
Mhm.
part that worries me. It's not really like I'm not just, you know, trying to insult her for her size. I think that it's being promoted for some reason. And I think that there are some women, because if they feel like they're getting validated for them as they are, which many women, let's face it, are really overweight, and many men
Mhm.
are overweight too. Um, if they're getting validated for that, then they're just going to keep living like that because they're being told that this is okay, if not outright sexy, which is what they're trying to sell. It's not just through Lizzo, but also through Tess Holiday, and there's like a couple of other larger women that are being used to promote body positivity, which basically means, like look like however you like. And men, and this is the part that's that we haven't, like, the rubber hasn't hit the road on yet, but
Mm.
there's this idea that can't men can't reject them because then they're being, fat phobic or something. And
Which is
so
astounding, because
absolutely.
when women reject men, it's the allegation is that it's because men are maladjusted or unattractive,
Mhm.
or they are not worthy as human beings. And yet when men reject women, it's because men are maladaptive and unattractive, or they are immoral and not fully human, not worthy as human beings. It's interesting how that works.
Mhm. Oh, of course. So anyway, those things are the reason why I bring it up. And I think that Lizzo is a good example of
Mm-hmm.
what's going on with that. So, all right, and Tess Holiday. There's even media campaigns. Oh wait, did I feel like I missed something.
In a
Uh
world that's constantly
oh
telling
yeah,
us
yeah.
to be thinner.
In a world that's constantly telling us to be thinner, it can be hard to love our bodies just the way they are. But what if we stop seeing our so-called flaws as imperfections and started viewing them as unique features that make us who we are? That's the body positivity movement in a nutshell. And while it has been gaining traction in recent years, there's one group of people who seem to have latched onto the concept with suspicious amounts of fervor. Middle-aged white guys with dad bods. There's even media campaigns catering to them with headlines like "Dad bods are the biggest turn on for singles in the pandemic sex era" and "Why girls love the dad bod." You've definitely seen a bunch of these.
Well, now that we're reading your article, but I'd like to point out that if you take a look, if you click on "Dad bods are the biggest turn on for singles in the pandemic era," this isn't an article catering to guys with dad bods. It's simply retelling or explaining a finding of a survey. So
Yeah, they're just kind of soft. But that,
yeah, like, and you look at them, they're not if you look at like Hugh Jackman and Andy Cohen and Luke Helmsworth are the ones they're showing. These are not. This is not huge obesity, is what I'm getting at.
No, it's
Like,
not. It's actually
it's
like a guy that age,
yes,
will have a hard
look
time
fine.
maintaining that look.
And Hugh Jackman, like what he looks like is, it's ridiculous to even call that unfit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe when you're getting to Luke Helmsworth, but even then, they actually look like they work out. One, that's really critical. They don't look like they're eating absolutely everything. It just looks like, they're older men. Period. Like they've gotten to that point in time, or alternatively, they have a lot more of their obliques worked up.
Yeah.
Because that actually thickens the waist. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's guys who do powerlifting, and they look like they're completely barrel chested. Like there's very little distinguishing their stomach from their chest, right? That's not
Mm-hmm.
fat. That's all stabilizing muscle, stabilizing their core.
Yeah. Sure.
So they're immensely strong, and it's not fat, but it looks like, a supposedly dad bod. So this is ridiculous to compare these men to what they're throwing up, like Lizzo and the other person you were talking about, as body positivity to women is absurd on its face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would be better off comparing these men to. Do you remember Anna Nicole Smith?
Of
Back
course.
way, yeah,
Yeah.
or Gina Carrero. Oh, I'm probably mispronouncing her.
Are you
The
talking about
Mandalorian.
Gina Carano?
Gina Carano.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the more appropriate comparison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So women who still have a waist, still have discernible breasts and a butt, and look like they work out. Well, I don't know
Yeah.
if Anna Nicole Smith still does, but
Well,
regardless,
she's dead. But
she's dead.
oh yeah, Anna Nicole Smith, she died like a long time ago.
Wow.
She had like a reality show, and you didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
I think I'm trying to remember. It was a while ago, but yeah, she's dead.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Gino Carrero is probably a better example. It's
Yeah.
like comparing, and you could say, well, if women like Gino Carrero is the face of body positivity, I think people would have less of a problem with it, because all she is thick, and muscular, and she might be a little bit more fat too on there as well, but she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look like she's going to drop dead.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't look like she's literally having an argument with her liver over who's going to be alive the next day. This is completely different. And to present these guys as equivalent of the body positivity movement, and not just that, but if you read this actual article, nearly 75% of singles are more turned on by a dad bod over any other body type, including a male with rock hard washboard abs, according to a sexy new survey of 2,000 people by dating.com. Well, I'm not actually surprised, because these guys, they look like men. They still look attractive. That's the thing. They still look strong and fit. They just don't look anorexic and dehydrated like a lot of like having an 8-pack is something that's very difficult to do.
Yeah.
And it requires a lot of very unhealthy behavior. But like, there's no reason for these men to not be considered attractive. And it's not body positivity to consider them attractive, is also what I'm getting at.
Of
Like,
course.
I know in the recent era, we've gone from seeing Marlon Brando and Rock Hudson and you look at those guys, they didn't look like Chris Hemsworth looks like now. You
No,
know,
it
they
wasn't
look
even. It wasn't even in. I
no
guess in fashion to look like that.
Sean
That's a
Connery. They
very
didn't
recent development.
that Sean Connery didn't look like that. So if we're going back to what men look like in like the 50s, 60s, and 70s, or even what women look like in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, because they had I think a more reasonable
I agree.
view of what women should look like or what actresses could look like. I don't think that that's body positivity as we're seeing with promoting women who are liso sized or
Mm-hmm.
bigger even. That's
Mm-hmm.
just that's just getting back to more normal looking people. You know
Yeah,
what I
for
mean?
sure. Absolutely.
These guys are just, I mean, they're not even normal looking. They're actually like probably in the top, you know, percentile for being
Mm-hmm.
fit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I said, to compare what they're trying to push as body positivity to this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
These men aren't fat. Like,
No.
maybe Luke Helmsworth, but even him, he looks like he could be picking up stumps and throwing them. So
Mm-hmm.
no,
No, I agree. I mean,
yeah,
he might have even been like, because a lot of these guys, they go uh in and out of roles, and the roles might ask them to like
yeah,
with their weight.
exactly,
But
yeah.
yeah. So there was this. I was just reminded. There's this model. She's like a plus size model. Her name is Stefania. I think it's Stefania Ferrario, and she is like a very voluptuous and curvy woman, right? And but she considers herself a plus size model, and that makes sense because she kind of is. But like her body still looks feminine, right? And she was putting out, because she's also an activist, of course, and she was talking about body positivity, and she was putting out all of this like stuff about how men objectify women's bodies and that they don't like you know um admire them as much, and all this stuff. But what drove me crazy about that was that Stefania Ferrario has like a
Hmm.
massive following of men. So like you have like millions of followers, and they want to see what you're doing and what you're modeling and where you're at. And I mean, it's like boring stuff that I wouldn't care about. But she has like this massive male following, and then she determined, I can only presume, because she didn't get a job with like, some like high-end European fashion agency that wants like really skinny women. She blamed it on men still. And I just thought it was kind of crazy because yeah, because well, it's one of those things where you think you're blaming it on society, but you're really just blaming it on men. And
Yeah,
the men were like, "But I'm a fan of yours. Like I don't
I'm
understand."
not. I'm taking a look at pictures of her, and I'm not surprised that she got a large male following. She looks like
Yeah.
something out of a oh, what's that artist?
You're talking about like
Franzetta.
Frank Frazetta. Yeah, yeah, sure.
She looks
Um
like she could be on a mountaintop with like lightning and a sword.
yeah, and I thought it's just wild because um it's it's obvious that men support that, like that they love
Mm-hmm.
women that look like that. And the reason why I brought it up too is because she's not she's not skinny. So
No.
so that means that like men generally have like I don't know if it's a desire, but I will say that they are generally more open to bigger women as long as
She's got
they
a
what.
well, sorry, go ahead. Finish your thought. I
I'm just
apologize.
saying they're open to bigger women because I think they're okay with a little cushion for the pushing. Like it's okay. They're not. I don't think that most men are really that particular. So
No, not really. And at least not as much as the women are trying. And I actually have experience with this now. But I wanted to say she does have a 2-pack, so she obviously works out.
Yeah, she does. Of course.
Yes. So this would be a good example of a
She's doing
comparative.
she's doing crunches. And that's what I
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Um there's another
Her
model.
and
I can't remember her name, but she was even more I guess you could say curvy, like a little thinner than Stefania, but she pulled this stunt where she got up on a train in Europe somewhere, and she like pulled off all of her clothes and talked about how her body is being like, some publicity stunt regarding her body being like judged and objectified by men. And it was just again, it was the same thing. I was like, no, you're not talking about men. You're
no.
talking about the industry that you work in, which is mainly
Mm-hmm.
occupied by women and gay men who, they don't care about like how
Curves.
attractive. Yeah, they don't care about curves or anything, because most men, they like a woman with curves. So I can't remember that woman's name. If anyone remembers who I'm talking about, this was a few years ago.
It's a matter
Um,
of your experience with it, right?
yeah,
If you're thinking, okay, that would be nice to touch, you're gonna have a different attitude than that would be nice to hang clothes off of.
yeah, exactly. Or
But
yeah, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say I have had some of this experience now that amazingly and very strangely, in the last couple months, the main Honey Badger Radio has flipped from like 90% male viewers to 90% female, well, 85%. And in that time, like I can really count on one hand. In fact, I don't even really remember that much men commenting on my appearance because I don't
Mm-hmm.
do makeup. I don't do my hair up. Like if I do makeup, it's very like just some foundation so that it my face shows up better on the, and very light.
Yeah.
And which is basically just, what you do when you're on camera, right? But I in 12 years of making content for men, I've rarely had men comment on my looks. Like
Yeah.
occasionally if I show my breasts, I'll get nice tits, or mostly what I've gotten is you have really striking eyes. I get
Mm-hmm.
that a lot from men. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
got. And
Mm-hmm.
not very often. Like it wasn't like a constant deluge of, oh, you have such striking eyes. It was like, a few times over the 12 years. Women in the last 3 months, I the I have had more women call me an ugly, fat, old bitch than I have ever experienced. Like in one day, I get more shit. I don't even remember getting this kind of shit from men who were against me ideologically, like feminist men.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't even do that. I mean, they might call me a grifter or something, but they wouldn't necessarily attack my looks.
Yeah.
These women are just brutal and abusive and bullying, and it's like really eye-opening. And it's astounding to me that women will turn around and blame men for this. It's like, no, men aren't doing this. If men aren't interested in you physically, they usually say nothing. I mean, maybe you'll get some assholes in public sometimes. I mean, I've sometimes got that, but for the most part, they just say nothing. And
Mm-hmm.
if you present yourself as just being interested in talking about the ideas, which is what I've done on that channel, like I really don't think I present myself as somebody who's there to be considered attractive, but just someone who's saying something, who has something to say. If you present yourself that way, in my experience, men will take you on that level, and they will engage with your arguments, even if they disagree with you. It's women who will try to attack, you try to berate and erode your sense of self-worth.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. Like I'm just looking at this deluge of bitchiness in my comments, and I'm like, wow. And the funny thing is that the amount of bitchiness isn't proportionate to the amount of downvotes. So I know all the women who are upset with what I'm saying are actually commenting on it.
Mm.
And the other women are just like, yeah, I think she's got a point, like, move on. you know,
Yeah.
and and it's the ones that just can't stand what I'm saying, which really I don't go after people's looks on the main channel at all. I
Mm-hmm.
just keep it to
The
keep
ideas.
it the ideas, the facts, the arguments, and those women who don't like that, they don't. And as of yet, I haven't got a really good counter argument to um what Meghan Markle is presenting in her podcast, in her original podcast, which is that when a woman is accused of something, we should focus on the fact that she's a victim of an accusation rather than the truth or falsity of that accusation, which it's like the diametric opposite of what we do with men. An accusation means guilt for a man. Okay. So if a woman accuses a man of something, he's guilty. If a
Yeah.
woman gets accused of something, then she is a victim of the accusation.
Yeah.
Like, and what if she did it? Oh no, no, that can't be. We can't talk about that. It's like a complete subversion of justice, and nobody has addressed that argument, except for the women who are like, oh yeah, that's a good point. Um, all of the women who have come out against it have just attacked me, physically, and it's astounding. I must say that I was quite spoiled by having a majority male audience for the last 12 years. Very supportive, very capable of keeping things on a particular level if you present that you are on that level.
Yeah.
And I've had a few they've managed to make me cry a few times, these women. Congratulations.
Yep.
You have proven to me, and I'm probably going to do a short on this. You have proven to me that this entire lookist culture has nothing to do with men. If men had their way, women would probably feel a lot better about themselves. But the
Yeah.
more you exclude men from your life, the less men have their way, and the more you're subject to the unbelievable levels of cattiness of other women. There
Yep.
you go.
All right.
And it's unbelievable that men get blamed for this. Okay, I
It's
threatened
believable.
arm twisting. Yeah, no, it is totally believable. The same way, it's also really, really horrible because men have nothing to do with this.
Hmm?
Nothing. Like I said, if men had their way, and I'm not talking about gay men or men who are really pissed at women for whatever reason, women would probably feel a lot better about themselves.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we did get one.
Good.
Michael O gives us $25. Actually, we also got one before the show from Techna Jade, who gives us $50. Thank you, Techna Jade. Thank you, Michael O.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
All right.
And once again, if you would like to join them, it's feedthebadger.com/support. I will get that eventually. Feedthebadger.com/support.
Seems a lot
So there you
easier
go.
than doing Badger Media Blitz, so I think that you're
Mm,
gonna pick
we
that
got
up
something there.
right away.
Yeah, I just have to get used to it because it's my muscle
Hmm.
memory now. My tongue
Yeah.
forms that other one. So I
Yeah.
gotta. So
Uh,
all
okay.
right, shall we
Anything
continue?
else? Are we okay? I have a super chat from Albatross, who gives us
Okay.
$5 and says, "Long story short, women invented the rules of body positivity, but can barely follow said rules."
They
Uh,
don't.
yeah, they don't. They don't care about that. It's
Yeah.
all about. It's
And
again. It's all about controlling what people think of them, which is really silly, but that's all it
and
is.
I don't really have a hell of a lot of sympathy for the body positivity movement. I grew up in a time where it didn't exist, and I was one of the two, I guess, biggest girls in my high school, and I got crap. A lot from other girls, not so much from boys, but whatever. I got a lot of shit for it, and now, those women who used to give me shit are, three axe handles wide, whereas I've stayed relatively the same size. And I did so because I learned very early on I can't stuff everything into my face. I have
Yeah.
to be careful. And that even though I've never been svelte, shall we say, I've never ballooned up to Alizo proportions either. And I got, like I've endured the shit from fat shaming. And I don't think that what's happening now is legitimate. Like there's one thing between saying that, normal sized women are okay, and if you're fit and you're a little bit on the chubby side, you're probably going to be okay. You can't really extort people to find you attractive, but you're probably, your health is reasonable, whatever. That's fine. But what I'm seeing now is absolutely ridiculous. And also a lot of these women who are supposedly body positive now, when they were thin, they probably tortured other women. So fuck off.
Yeah, they probably did. Yeah, they probably did. All right, so back to the article. So they're describing the body positivity movement. There's even media campaigns catering to them with headlines like "Dad bods are the biggest turn on for singles in the pandemic sex era," which we clicked on and looked at, and "Why girls love the dad bod." You've definitely seen a bunch of these. And if I go to "Why girls love the dad bod," again,
they just give a few reasons. You know why? Because these are perfectly attractive men.
Yeah, it's more important that they're attractive men than they have like the dad bod, I guess. Because if they seem pretty normal and not bad looking, that's probably good enough. But I mean, a man who happens to also have like a 4-pack or 6-pack even probably would also do pretty well. So
yeah, I doubt that this is something where the men who have a 6-pack are really hurting out for attention.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think that in this, it's more like what would you call it? It's like a bit of a spectrum. Like the women will take a guy that this article is describing as a guy with a dad bod, provided that he's a good looking guy and fun to be around and has like other qualities that women want. I don't think the dad bod thing is a really big part of it. I don't know. I don't know if women are doing that, because I know that sometimes they do. But I mean, these guys are basically like average men, and that's probably fine. So
yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, and the ones that they were showing in the original article were actually above average, to be honest.
Oh, for sure they were. Yeah, celebrities. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and they were the male equivalent of, like, I'm looking at this Stefania
Ferrario. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kiara, the other one, Mandalorian.
Why am I blanking on that?
Because you've got my Z's now.
Gina Carano.
Yeah, they're like the male equivalent of women like that.
Yeah, sure.
So, like, what are you even talking about? That's not body positivity. That's just being normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like you're saying.
Exactly. Well, like.
Yep, normal on this. It's like there's normal attractive. Somebody who looks like a human being and is attractive. Like if you go back and watch the original Top Gun, they look like human beings and they're attractive. And then you go on watch Maverick and it all looks like everybody's a fucking sex doll.
Yeah, like they're all sculpted from.
Yeah, and they're all about
marble.
As attractive as a piece of molded plastic as well. That kind of thing. It's like there's normal attractiveness. There's being on the high end of the bell curve, but you still look normal. You look like a human being. And then there's this other form of attractiveness, which is starting to move into the uncanny valley, like Chris Helmsworth. It's just like, no.
Yeah, and, I know. It's especially with men, it's becoming like really, where it feels really artificial. If you watch like an old film, with Steve McQueen or Burt Reynolds or Marlon Brando or Sean Connery or whatever, those guys were not. I mean, they were considered bodybuilders. Like some of them, like Sean Connery was supposedly a bodybuilder, and that's how he got the job playing James Bond. But if you look at his body type, back then, that didn't look like a bodybuilder. Like the standards were very, very different. And
Yeah.
he was hairy, and most of the other guys I mentioned were hairy, but they looked like they were good-looking guys, and they had
Mm-hmm.
this, I
Down
don't know.
to
I
earth
guess it was
quality.
they had this down-to-earth quality. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And
So
like I said, it is definitely visible in like the original Top Gun versus Maverick. Like when you look at the original Top Gun, these are really good looking men,
yeah, sure.
but they don't have like the absolutely perfect teeth. They don't have the absolutely perfect face. They don't
Mm-hmm.
have they're thin, but they're sort of like muscular thin rather than what it is now, which is both thin and really bulky, which doesn't usually happen normally,
Not without
and
not without roids.
yeah, so like it's a kind of attractiveness that you could imagine walking down the street versus the kind of attractiveness that you can only imagine walking out of a plastic surgeon's office. And the
Mm-hmm.
women are the same too.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
they're all in this race to look as generic as possible with the Disney nose and
Yeah,
everything else.
yeah. It's true. I think that is a bigger. I don't want to say problem, but like it's an issue that I think people should notice because it is very artificial, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's nothing like. I don't know if it's altering people's like standards. I hope it's not, but I do think that it's very strange. All right, but
Well, I'll
anyway.
tell you one thing. I don't know
Mm,
what's going on, but I was like, when I was watching Top Gun, the original Top Gun, I'm like, wow, these people are really attractive. I'm actually feeling some kind of, I don't want to, like not like a huge amount, but these are like these look like desirable people. Why am I feeling this? I haven't felt this in a while towards a video or a movie.
mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's from the 80s. That's why they
Of
look like human
course.
beings.
Yeah, in the 80s people look like people.
Yeah,
And the
like people.
70s and the 60s. Um
Yeah.
yeah, so I agree with that. All right.
All
If
right.
you're a
Yeah.
white guy thinking you should just embrace your belly fat and jump on the dad bod positivity bandwagon, this article is for you. You need to understand that you are not the target audience for body positivity. This isn't about you guys. It's about us women.
No one was asking you.
No, of course. She's just like, I'm the queen of body positivity, and you are not allowed
You're
to
not allowed
share
to have the body positivity infrastructure that we have sweated over, eh?
it.
And also, like, I'm just imagining because guys are like, I don't even think that men are even paying attention to this. Like,
No, of
so
course
somebody did a
not.
survey. They found out that guys who look like normal human beings but are fit and look like they could lift like the end of a tractor are attractive to women. Okay, does this I don't even think that's targeted to men. How is that targeted to men? It sounds like it's more targeted to women. Like this is something women find attractive. Like if there was a study that said men really find an hourglass figure attractive, would she say that this that's targeted towards women? No. She would say it's reinforcing the hegemonic sexist patriarchal objectifications of
Mm-hmm.
cissexual gender normative blah blah blah. You know,
Yeah.
and it's easier to cut through all the crap. I was gonna say
All the
fat.
bullshit. Yeah. Well,
Basically, she would say this is just another example of man bad. Uh,
yeah. Basically, that's how all of this comes down. And the thing is, too, is that I don't think any men, like, if she told men, I know what you're doing. You're trying to, like, get a piece of our body positivity movement. All men would probably say, "What are you talking about?" Like, even if they were embracing their, dad bods or whatever, men aren't um, concerned with that. They
no.
might find it funny, like, "Oh, look at
Mm-hmm.
that! I have a dad bod," according to this article, but they don't really think it's important, because they know, by the way, that men are going to be judged on a lot more than whether or not they have a dad bod, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they know that their plate of various things to achieve to get the appropriate attention from women, if that's what they want, it's a lot longer than just this. So like most men are probably like, they're probably just flattered enough that you know, some women will say that they are attractive because they have this dad bod, as it were. But it doesn't change much.
No, it doesn't really. But and also, like, I just want to remind everybody we are doing our fundraiser before we continue. feedthebadger.com/project or feedthebadger.com/support, and also send those super chows. So send us messages at feedthebadger.com/just-the-tip.
Please.
Yeah, send them so we can discuss other things. Well, go on tangents. Yeah, so let's get a little bit more of this done.
All right. Hold on.
Okay, do you mind if I read a paragraph?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. It's nice that people are starting to accept themselves for who they are instead of succumbing to societal pressure. Although let's be real, most dad bods probably wouldn't even consider going shirtless at the beach. Boy, that's a really snide, underhanded comment. So the body positivity movement, as far as I can tell, is simply accepting yourself as who you are. At least that's what they say. And then it's a lot of it also seems to be forcing other people to accept you for who you are. So whatever. But she's trying to say that only women are allowed to do this. Like, what is her ultimate thesis here? But at its core, body positivity isn't about looking hot. It's about challenging the Western world's patriarchal beauty standards. And that challenge, by definition, has to exclude white guys to stay authentic to woman culture.
Women culture?
Okay, wait.
That sounds awful.
Okay, but what does this even mean? Like, they aren't encroaching on anything that you're doing. They're not touching your body positivity infrastructure. I don't even think men are involved in this at all, aside from there being a study that dad bods are actually, I wouldn't even call them dad bods. They're just men who look normal, who are fit and attractive, are perceived to be attractive to women. Who knew? Wow. Like, until the body positivity movement says that Gina Carrero and Stefani are what they're talking about, we want people to accept these women as beautiful. Until the body positivity movement says that's what we're championing, we're not championing like 400, 300, 400. Those women are unhealthy, and they need to do something to help themselves, stop abusing themselves. Until the body positivity movement is that, you don't get to claim that the dad bod thing is part of body positivity, because these men are not unhealthy. They're perfectly normal men and perfectly attractive. It doesn't take a lot of body positivity to have that kind of a body as a man and think that, oh yeah, I'm actually okay, because he is. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, this is not, and I don't think men are even considering any of this or encroaching on your mental territory. So the only thing you could be calling men out for is feeling good about themselves, which I'm not surprised that you are. Like, men, only women are allowed to feel good about themselves. Can I do another paragraph?
Go ahead.
Also, I can't help but feel this trend is the usual suspects culturally appropriating something that was never meant for them in the first place. The body positivity movement was created by women, specifically Black women. No, it wasn't. As a brilliantly sassy yet empathetic response to the unrealistic standards of beauty imposed on us by Western culture. You mean imposed by them by white women? It wasn't designed for privileged white males who already conform to their own traditional ideas of masculinity. Duh. It was meant for those of us who often feel invisible and unworthy because we don't fit into patriarchy's white supremacist definition of beauty.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's like,
you're boring a lot of trouble here, lady. I think that from one or two articles on a study in which women like men who are attractive. Like, I mean, could we have the study see how many men find Stefani, was it?
Why am I forgetting? Stefania Ferrario.
I gave you my disease.
Stefania Ferrario. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
We have the study?
I don't know if there is a study, but I can guarantee you it's most men.
Yeah. Okay, let's have that study. Let's find out if most men like.
She basically has the same or a similar body type that the woman that you mentioned before, had before she
Anna,
died. And Nicole Smith. Yeah.
Yeah, let's have that study. Like, how many men find that attractive? Like,
Yeah, I think it's probably most men. I mean,
most men.
that's for sure. I'm sure of it. And that's why, her complaints made no sense. Because I'm like, but men like you. Like, this is the body type that they like a lot. I mean, she fluctuates a little bit because she's like a vegan, activist. And I don't think that veganism is going to be good for her in the long run. But nonetheless, like, she has, generally the same type of body. So, yeah, she's making this about men, and it really isn't about men.
No, it's not at all.
She's just trying to blame men. The white supremacist part of it is just like extra, but I think she's just adding that on to strengthen her argument. But like, it's not really important. I think that we're talking about men, darling. So,
well, I don't even think that for the most part men are even paying attention to this.
No, they're not paying attention. I this is so ridiculous. It's basically like, what would you call this? Is this even propaganda? Oh,
well, what I would call this is like, I don't know. We're on the playground. Women so the girls are like hooting over some guy, and they're like, oh, we all like this guy. And then meanwhile, a bunch of other girls over there are like, I can't believe that he's appropriating our culture.
Yeah.
And it's like, the guy is just, I just wanted to play kickball.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why one group of women are chasing, or girls are chasing me, and the other group of girls won't even talk to me anymore. What? It's amazing how much they can spin off of almost nothing, like no male involvement. Like, I don't even see where the group of men advocate. You don't even point out the group of men who are like, we're gonna do like a tactical maneuver and take over the women's body positivity infrastructure.
Exactly. We are now the masters of the body positivity infrastructure. Yeah. We have captured this. We've
captured their fort.
Fortress, and now the ladies, you're gonna have to support us in our dad bod pursuits. That's not happening anywhere. This woman is, I don't know if it's delusional. It's just really strange. She just wants to blame men, and it doesn't make any sense. And it's I don't know. All right.
Well, I'm all for people loving their bodies. Forgetting who the body positive movement was created by and for feels problematic and sus. It's like some kind of 4chan operation against feminism. It's just a survey.
Yeah. Stop saying sus. You don't deserve to say that. That is a hill I will die on.
But it's just a survey. I think that actually what's happening is she feels angry, or he feels angry that
it's a woman.
So many women actually find normal men attractive, and she's freaking out about it. Like, but I'm like, this survey is about as newsworthy as a survey finding all like a whole bunch of men finding like Gianna, these women attractive, the woman you mentioned attractive. It's like, so human attraction exists. Knew it as at 11. The body positivity movement is horrified because I don't know, I guess the currency of sex should now be repulsion. Remember free bleeding? Yep. And I also remember that you guys bought into it. Yep, I'm getting those vibes from all this dad bod positivity thing. Again, one survey.
Are you planning on doing something really embarrassing to yourself in the pursuit of body positivity? Because that would be the equivalent of the free bleeding prank or troll, right? Like, you would have to do something that would make you look like an absolute fool in the pursuit of body positivity.
She wrote this article.
That's true. She did write this article. That's where she's getting that feeling from. And I get the sense that she might have fallen for it back when the free bleeding thing happened. an oddly specific thing to bring up. I mean, there was also was it like piss for equality or something, where women were peeing themselves supposedly and taking pictures, and there were pictures, and the reason was it was a prank, like a 4chan prank, but supposedly, but the women were doing this because they were fighting against rape and rape culture. And the idea is that sometimes, I think there was like this guy, like a politician, he said something about how women's bodies have like self-defense mechanisms, for when they're in danger, and they might like urinate on themselves or something. And it was it was a boneheaded thing to say, but like they made it into this huge deal, and they, was promoting rape culture and all this other shit. But I think that he was basically, at the end of the day, he was trying to, I think, bring the temperature down, because these things they don't happen frequently enough that this is a concern. But also, he was trying to like sympathize with women, but he just didn't. I don't know. He put his foot in his mouth, and they jumped on it.
Yeah.
All right.
I have no like I said, I think it's just she wrote this article. Maybe that's the humiliating thing that she's been.
Yeah, subjecting herself.
Actually, to be honest, first of all, is it really going to be a 4chan prank if it's based on a study? No, I don't.
No.
And is the New York Times going to publish a 4chan prank? No. But the other thing is that if it was a 4chan prank, are they trolling women like this to create articles like this?
I mean, you can do that without even trying. You don't even
need.
Yeah, like this whole thing is probably like almost like every factor involved in the whole dad bod thing. Every website, article, whatever that she's looking at and complaining about probably wasn't written by men. I mean, so what?
Oh, the Salon article. Sexy dad bods are not progress. Fetishizing beer bellies only fat shames others.
Yeah, I saw that. Should I open it?
Okay, I really wanted to understand what the thesis is. My biggest problem is that the dad bod craze doesn't actually puncture our society's obsession with policing other people's bodies. It simply fetishizes one less thin type while carefully delineating who makes the cut. Bod is one step forward, two steps back in terms of male body image and acceptance. Its advocates say such pains to emphasize the parameters of the dad bod. Okay, so essentially it's still within the realm of health, therefore it's not body positivity. You guys are truly screwed, my friends. Like, Mother Nature doesn't give a crap about your body positivity. And I sometimes I wish, no, I don't really wish, because I'd probably be on the bleeding end of this, but maybe we should take a page from like Japan. They don't give any of this crap any kind of truck there.
And
their obesity rate is what, 3%?
Yeah, it's like almost nobody.
Also, I don't think body positivity was led by Black women. I'm not sure where she's getting that from.
I have no idea. Maybe she's looking at like, because I think the fat acceptance thing is a lot older, actually.
Yes, it is. There used to be like a magazine called Mode magazine, which honestly, and this is how it was back then. Mode magazine basically had models who looked like Stefania, basically.
Yeah.
That's that. So it was a magazine full of models like that.
Yeah, sure. Probably and that popular was with guys.
Yeah, well, it was considered body positivity of the era. And maybe it was just really brutal in the 90s. This kind of stuff, wouldn't have flown. And at the time, like the body positivity movement was talking about how Black women actually feel more positive about their bodies than white women do.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were different standards. Like there was a curvier standard for Black women than white women. So I remember this because I was sort of there and listening and keeping a feeler out. I don't remember it being led by Black women. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that to be racist. It's just my recollection.
Yeah. Well, I think that to sort of piggyback off of what you're saying, um, that's probably all true. And
Mm-hmm.
the other thing is that I think that what they're really bothered by with all of this is the fact that men just don't care about this
Yeah.
stuff. And they're not thinking about whether or not their bodies qualify as dad bod bodies. They don't care if they have a beer belly or not. They don't care about any of that. They're just living their life. Some guys are bigger, some guys are smaller. They're not even thinking about it because they don't
Mm-hmm.
obsess over these things because they have more important things to obsess over. Like, keeping their job or whatever, right? Being there
Mm-hmm.
for their children or their wives or whatever. And I think that what bothers her is that men are so casual, and they're not bothered by this. They're not thinking about this, and she seems to be a little bit worryingly obsessed. And I don't think that is well, I certainly don't think it's healthy, but I think that's probably what it is. I think it's that men just don't care about this.
No, I don't think they do. And I really don't think there's any I mean, unless
And
she can
it's
point to a group of men who's like talking about taking over the body positivity
exactly
infrastructure.
exactly
Like this is just a shadow, like she's shadow boxing.
yeah. You're exactly right. She's in a fight with nobody. And
Oh, the final line is gonna be a kicker. Oh
okay,
boy.
all right, go ahead.
By the way, guys, no, there's nobody put anything through. Even if it's like even if you're thinking I can only give like $5, that really helps. So don't think it's
Yeah.
it's it's really important. Just spend the time to go to feedthebadger.com/support and put what you can in. Just take a moment to do that and help us out because we exist because you support us in existing. And if you cease to support us in existing, we cease to exist. So please allow us to continue at feedthebadger.com/support. All right. I think there's only a few. Yeah, two. Do you want me to continue or do you want to continue?
I'll do it. Body positivity is for women led by black women. We didn't read this.
No,
To
she's just
cel-
repeating herself.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
just repeating herself. To
So this all
celebrate,
blends.
yeah, to celebrate our diverse shapes and sizes, and to finally feel like we belong in a world that has always told us we don't. No, it hasn't. Stop it. Body positivity is for women who have been systemically oppressed and told their entire lives that they're not good enough. Body positivity is for women who have been taught to hate themselves because they don't look like Barbie, not for dudes who can already pass as Ken. So, to the dads out there, Ken doesn't have a penis though, so I think that's kind of bad for us. So, to the dads out there flaunting their newfound body confidence, apparently it's stolen from women. If you have a dad bod, it's time to hit the gym. It's good for you, and we'll appreciate you more. This movement isn't for you, and you just need to stay in your own lane.
Oh my God. So to the dads out there flaunting their newfound stolen body confidence. So men
Stolen,
have stolen their
stolen
confidence.
valor from big women.
What the hell are you even talking about? That's an internal thing. It's like something you earn for yourself by developing it.
Hmm?
That's like my brain is breaking and trying to model this individual's thought process. I think I'm actually feeling legitimate pain from attempting to sympathize with how she formulates her attitudes towards the world. I don't know if I can. It's like how is their confidence with their bodies stolen from women? Like,
No
how do
idea.
you steal a thought?
Yeah.
What do you think? Did they have like some kind of, I don't know, thought stealing device, and they're just sucking on to women, and they're like, yeah, that confidence, I'm taking it from you. What? Like, how do you get so far down the man bad rabbit hole where you honestly think that men are like thought leeches, stealing women's body confidence from them? And then not only that, she tops it off by saying, essentially shaming these men and saying it's good for you to hit the gym. Well, then, lady, it's good for you to hit the gym. And it's good for all of these women who you're throwing up as evidence of body positivity to hit the gym. You've just completely undermined your own damn argument.
Mm-hmm.
We'll appreciate you more. Oh, so in other words, you don't find men with a dad bod attractive, even though how big are you?
We
Are
don't
you
know.
even like a Stefania? Is that how you say her name?
Yeah.
Stefani? Yeah.
Stefania Ferrario, yeah.
Yeah. Are you even, do you even look like that? Which is the female equivalent of a dad bod. And you are insisting that men who are already in the upper echelons of attractiveness become more attractive to you,
Mm-hmm.
at the same time as not have any right to judge whether or not you are attractive to them. The level of entitlement. There is no way this creature popped out of a patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
The level of entitlement is so profound that I'm pretty sure it must be toxic at this point for this individual.
Yeah, probably.
Although she's getting skewered in the comments.
Absolutely, yeah, destroyed. Which is good. Means that a lot of people are not that stupid. All for this.
Oh, there's a
So,
Pam though. So glad this has been brought up. I know bodybuilding is very male dominated, but fitness is a much larger field than bulging freakazoids doing the Atlas pose inside of half-inch layer of blackface cream. And the fact is, men put in the hours on average that women put in the hours on average that men would rather spend on the sofa. You know that fitness is not just going to the gym.
yeah.
Men are much more involved in organized sports. The dad bod is a cultural phenomenon, is a normalization of these different levels of expectations. So hit the gym, guys, get healthy and look your best. What? So because how do you even make this make sense? Women put more average into the gym. So women spend more time on their looks, put more time into the gym. Therefore, we should be dealing with the gym time gap and men should go into the gym more.
Mm-hmm.
And but also women should embrace body positivity, but not men. And
Yeah, well, they don't want men supporting each other, even though like the men's act of doing so is not necessarily body positivity, because that's essentially sentiment to satisfy your ego, whereas men, they try to like bring out the, how do I put this, they try to bring out the best in other men, right? So I don't know, she just doesn't understand, like it's all so hostile. It's like everything men do, they want to be hostile towards it. And even though all it is guys like helping each other to lose weight, or whatever it is, right? They like, it's so crazy.
I'm gonna reach through the internet and slap you, you freaking moronic cunt. Oh my god. Yeah, the comments at least are not having any of this crap.
Yeah.
I don't, but what's really astounding is that this is like she's saying men are being horrible and men are doing nothing. Like I'm pretty sure men are not even involved in any of this. I don't see a group of men saying, hey, we're going to take over the body positivity infrastructure anywhere. They may be being confident about their bodies off on their own, just doing their own thing, even though she says that most men with dad bods aren't confident enough to not go shirtless on the beach, and yet at the same time as she's saying that they're stealing confidence from women.
Yeah.
So she's basically saying the dad bod dudes don't have any confidence because, you know, they're pussies, but at the same time they're stealing confidence from women. So which is it? Like, this is what's so aggravating is men can't be right for being wrong and be wrong for being right.
Yep.
There's absolutely nothing men can do to satisfy this. And these are the women that we choose to give a platform to.
Yes. That's right. Women set the game board, they made up the rules, and then they, like, you know, essentially lay the trap and wait for men to come and play.
Apparently there may be a substantial number of women who are getting tired of this too.
Yeah, I think so.
And I hope so. I honestly hope so, because this is just getting really, it's infuriating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, Jordan Peterson talks about how women should have the right to set standards, but how about setting something achievable? You know, like something clear. I think men would be okay with that if women just had a clear standard and they didn't get upset when men were like, you know, I don't measure up to that standard. It makes me feel bad. And then women don't go freaking out and say, oh, incel terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, can we not have a little bit more sanity?
Yeah.
Oh. What?
Apparently there's like a piece of fat pride history in the comments.
Oh, okay.
The body positivity movement was created by women, specifically black women. Really, is that so? So they're responding to this. In 1967, New York radio host Steve Post held a fat in Central Park. He described the purpose of this event was to protest discrimination against the fat. This moment is often cited as the beginning of the fat acceptance movement. 1967. Here is the proud black woman who created the movement. It's basically a picture of an old white guy in a radio station. So, looks like a white dude did this. Sorry about that. Looks like a white dude did this. What's his name again? Steve Post. Okay. So, that's just another bit of interesting trivia I thought you guys should know about.
All wow, right. It's a white dude. I bet he liked fat women.
He probably did. He probably had a thing for big women.
And you know what? In 1967, those fat women were probably like mildly chunky.
Yeah, to be fat was probably not really a big deal. It wasn't like,
well, no, it probably wasn't today. like what I'm getting at. It was like maybe,
yeah, they weren't right. They weren't as overweight as they are today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that the body positivity movement is obscuring the fact that people are getting fatter, and we need to figure out why.
Mm-hmm.
And because this is not healthy. No.
Oh.
And I don't understand, because when I gain weight and I get to a certain point, I start to feel really uncomfortable. How do they get past that point?
Mm-hmm.
That, I mean, how do you, like, at what point are you just okay with feeling that uncomfortable in your own body?
Exactly, where you basically need to get the rest of the world to...
Well, not just that, just physically uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, sure. I don't know. I can't answer that one.
Okay, so I do have a thank you to give to Mrs. Anne of Arc, who gave us $10. Thank you, Mrs. Anne of Arc. And she might be putting through a comment.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
It's still pending, that comment, so we might be I mean, it's a short article. At least it has that for it. At least it's too long. She's managed to repeat herself even in like 500 words, but you know.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like we were going to get a lot of enlightenment out of it. Okay, so Brakir, I got a super chat from Brakir for 1366. Okay. And he says, here's $10. Stop whining about money. Thank you. I don't think it's
Thank you.
$10 because we got $13.66, but appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you
Appreciate
wanna,
it.
I think it's better if you give it to
Yeah, the
like
feedthebadger.com
feedthebadger.com
slash
slash
SP.
support because then YouTube won't take as much. Well, they won't
Maybe
take
that's what
any.
the 3.99 is for. It's for YouTube.
Yeah, maybe. That's probably right. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. We don't
You know
know.
what they should
Maybe.
do is YouTube should just tell you like this is how much we took, and this is what you get. That's what they probably
Mm,
should do, but they won't. Bastard.
no.
Um. All right. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's that.
indeed.
How are we doing on any other donations
No,
or?
just Mrs. Anna of Arc,
Oh, you're waiting
and
on that, right?
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
still waiting on the pending, and I think it might have hit a snag. Um, so we may not have. She tried again. Maybe this one will go through.
All
So
right.
obviously she's really eager to send us a comment. So maybe we should just give her a few minutes. Look at a few more of these ridiculous.
Comments?
Well, no, the comments aren't ridiculous.
Yeah, I
How did
don't.
your Twitter account get suspended, Miss Braunstein?
Yeah, I know. I'm curious about that. She probably said, like I said, she probably said something like something I said that got me banned from Twitter,
Hmm.
or um,
What
who?
did you say that got you banned from Twitter?
It's really not that complicated. I basically explained that this was around the time that everybody was being called a Nazi, and I was explaining that Nazis are leftists because
Hmm.
Nazism is leftism,
Oh, okay.
and yeah, what did it go through?
Actually, like three of them went through. Okay, Miss Anna of Arc,
Oh,
stop.
okay, you can stop now, Miss Anavark. I don't know why you were having trouble before.
Yeah, okay. Let me just double check here what's going on. Oh no, this is somebody different. They're all coming in at the last minute for some reason. Okay, yeah, no, actually, Mrs. Anavark, your thing went through. Everybody else, no, you can continue to do that. There was three different people. I thought it was the same person, but it isn't. Okay, so we got
Mm,
we got super chows now.
okay, let
All
me
right.
see. It said Super Chows. I see them.
Yes.
Anonymous gives us $5 and says, "I'd love to hear the author who wrote this article say the same thing about trans women and trans girls in women's sports. About
Oh, that they're
body pos,
appropriating.
like are they pro body
No, that they're
positivity?
appropriating women's culture.
Oh, I don't know. She probably
You
would
know,
defend that actually.
you
So,
know, yeah, she would. So what we should do is essentially we should hook her brain up to a dynamo and just inject this idea of the appropriation of women's whatever, and then ask her the question about trans women and trans girls in women's sports. And then we'd be able to power the world of the resultant hamster wheel
mm,
spinning
mm-hmm.
in her skull. Um as she tries to justify everything. Okay.
All right.
No, you
So,
see,
ooh,
men can't appropriate anything except a women's identity.
yeah, because it's the only thing that men want that they can't have or something.
Well, no, men can't appropriate any aspect. I don't even know how men having confidence is appropriating anything from women.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
That doesn't even freaking make sense. But what they're saying is that trans women and trans girls in women's sports is not appropriating women's spaces from women, probably to this woman.
Mm,
So what they're saying is, this is a contradiction.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
because trans women are women, um, because we don't know what a woman is or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
So they can't appropriate it because they're actually women. And I'm not saying they aren't, but you're right. There is an incredible inconsistency here that doesn't even make it, like there's a problem with this woman's thinking, but I think it's more in line with the idea that men somehow are appropriating body positivity by being confident in themselves, and they can't do that. So men should be neurotic about themselves. But of course, the previous article that we read said that if men are neurotic, they're forcing women to do emotional labor. So men should suffer in silence, in neurotic silence, knowing that they are horrible and ugly and viciously burdensome to everyone around them. Never speak a word to women and never develop confidence, because that would be appropriating women's positivity in themselves.
Yeah.
Somehow that would be taking confidence away from women. If men develop confidence, then they're taking it away from women, because mental stamina, mental health, increasing your mental strength is a zero-sum game. And somehow when someone increases their mental strength, you lose out.
Yep.
Or has a defeat. Okay.
All right. So here are the super chows. I read the first one already. Miss Anne of Arc gives us $5 and says, we should start playing buzzword bingo. Also, check Rumble. I will. Saw that there are some Rumble rants. I appreciate that. And we used to do the buzzword bingo. We could probably bring something like that back. And then Amasang gives us $5 and says $5 a month. So, well, whatever you can do. I don't know what that statement means, but it's appreciated regardless.
I'll take it. You might want to clarify that. Okay, so I guess do the Rumble rants.
Yeah. So
I still haven't figured out how to cash out with Rumble, because it doesn't give us the cash out option. Yeah, so it's been like a year.
No idea, but it looks like there's some money sitting there. I hope that they don't just take it back.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Miss Anne of Arc in Rumble gives us $5 and says, spooky, scary daddy bods sending shivers down my spine. Pretty good. Nova Fan 21 gives us $1. Go ahead, Allison.
It's spooky, scary, confident men stealing my confidence through their brain leeching devices.
Yes. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue, but yeah.
No.
Nova Fan gives us Nova Fan 21 gives us $1 and says, I believe the biggest supporters of the body positivity movement only care about being judged for being overweight. They should push for people to be supportive, to live a healthy lifestyle instead. Yes. Well, basically it's all about avoiding judgment. It's not really about living your best life, because that takes effort. But if you can get the whole world to support you, like unquestionably, even if you get sick, even if you like have heart problems, or you get cancer, or you get diabetes, or you just die, as long as you are being supported and not judged in a negative way, then I guess that's the important thing to them. So it's the thing is, the reality is going to come. Like, there's no running from that. The reality is going to come. It's going to hit you in the face. You're going to find out that you have tumors or all these whatever other problems, and now you have to deal with them. So, you should...
Mother Nature is fat-phobic.
You can't live in a world where you just, like, avoid people judging you. Because, first of all, judgment's not generally the problem. It's like the whole getting sick and dying thing. And that's probably something that should take a higher priority. So anyway, thank you for that, Nova Fan. And then Nova Fan 21 gives us another Rumble rant for $1 and says, I'd love to hear the author write the same thing about trans women and trans girls in sports. I highly doubt it will happen, LOL. So this is something that we've already... apparently they went through this, and then they sent it through as a super chow. Appreciate it. I was gonna go to Rumble, look at those, but I usually do that at the end. So
until I can figure out what Rumble is doing, I would prefer people just go through the super chow option. Right. It's why it's there, and it's why I beat my head over how to make it pop up in the Discord. That took a while.
Yeah.
Enjoy the fruits of my labor, everyone. It was I did emotional labor for you guys, programming all that crap. So Did you want to call it a?
Yeah, we can close it out, I suppose. I mean, it's 8 o'clock. We've been going for an hour and a half.
An hour and a half.
Yeah,
so 90 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So,
All
go ahead and say your final things, and then I'll say my final things, and then we'll close it out.
Okay, well, if you're listening to this after the fact, please go to feedthebadger.com/support and support this work if you want to see it to continue. And it's very much appreciated if you do. And also, if you just want to leave a comment, you can go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip and do so there. And I will hand it back to you, Brian.
All right. Well, if you guys like this video, please smash the like button. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications so you know when our streams go live. Leave us a comment. And most importantly, please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of Maintaining Frame. And we will talk to you all in the next video.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.